Good day and welcome to another episode of Game Time with Marco. Thank you for joining us and thank you for your views. Thank you for your opinions, comments. Continue liking our page and continue watching our podcast that we have. Today, another exciting episode lined up with one of Namibia's greatest footballers, if I may put it that way. Not footballers per se, but greatest goalkeepers ever to come out of this country. He's a Champions League, African Champions League runner-up. He's a league title-winning coach. I'm happy I can finally say that one.
Don't anger people, man. You're going to anger people. This is by default.
I've always wanted to say that, title-winning coach. And former Brave Warriors captain, Brave Warriors player, has been into how many? 4 Africa Cup of Nations?
Yeah.
Yeah. He has been to Chan, he has been to Kosafa. He's a Kosafa winning coach. If I continue with the accolades, I might spend the whole day here. Anyway, Ronnie.
Yeah.
Kananelo, Philemon, welcome and thank you for giving us your time.
Why are you sharing my names just like that, Philemon? People don't know that name, man.
But why don't you like using Philemon? Why don't you like using Philemon?
No, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with it. It's.
But you hardly use it.
Why must I use it?
Oh, okay.
It's on my ID. I use it for official purposes. But other than that, it's everybody knows me by Ronnie, and then the one that I went to school with sometimes will call me Speeches or my speecher, etc. So that's speeches, my speecher. They call me my speecher.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, no, he didn't go to school with me, so he will not know.
Okay, talking about school, where did you go to school?
Wolfies Bay, Quizebond, Emmanuel Reuters, KSS, yeah.
And your background is sort of, it's a lot, it's a cocktail, your background, in terms of, were you born in Ohangwena?
Yeah, I was born in Ohangwena. I spent my first 2 years of my life in Ohangwena, and that was the end of Ohangwena.
Ohangwena, okay. And in terms of the languages that you speak, I think you speak half of the country's languages.
No, I speak and write Damara. My Ovambo is not so good, but I can write it. I can write and speak Xhosa. My Xhosa is not so good anymore, but I understand. I can write 60-70%. So Zulu and Xhosa are more or less the same. So it's Damara. Yeah, I did Damara as a language. It's at school, primary, which is strange. Yeah, because my mom is Angolan, my father is Ovambo. It's Kwanyama.
So you're Chimbundu?
I'm Chimbundu, Ovambo. Chimbundu, Kwanyama. But I grew up with my mom. I grew up with my mom. And, but the background of my Kimbundu family is when they moved from Angola, some of them set base in Okavango, others in Grootfontein, and then the entire group, the other group ended up setting base in Ochiwarongo. So during the apartheid era, they could identify you by your surname from which tribe you are. My Kimbundu clan surname is Joao.
Oh, okay.
So. And when they moved to Namibia and set base in Ochiwarongo, they had to make it sound Herero. So they added the N and a D in front of the J, and they removed the Joao after the J. Then it became Njao. Yeah, so that's my other history from my home language, because the area where my grandmother set base was, and my grandfather was multi-tribe, so mostly Ovambos, and so they speak that Herero, and so our home language became Herero in general. Yes.
And then how did you end up settling in Walvis Bay?
So my mom moved to Walvis Bay. You know, my uncle, who is Bonnie Paulino's father, brought her to Walvis Bay.
Oh, okay, for work purposes.
For work purposes, and yeah, that's how she met my father, and Ronnie was born. Yeah.
And then you go to school in Walvis Bay. When does the football bug bite you?
My family, I come from a football family.
So
Sports family. I come from a sports family.
Oh,
my
okay.
mom was a netball player. She was a netball coach. My elder brother Shindere played football. Was a good footballer. He played for a team called Silent Killers then in Ochuarongo, and later on for Superstars. That's where he retired. My late brother Salati Anjao, you know, he played for Explorer 11. He played for Blue Waters. He played for 11 Arrows, Orlando Pirates here, Black Africa second team, but most of his life was in Keetmans.
Okay.
You know, with the Schulz family. And then he played. I think he played for Young Beauties, if I'm not mistaken, in Keetmans. And then, you know, from Keetmans they always cross over into Uppington, and then he played for a team called Bapelela Chiefs. So, yeah. So my brother actually was very well known in those days because football's closed. Yeah. So and my younger sister played netball. My older sister played netball. She was a 200-meter sprinter. My younger. So yeah, we come from a sporting family.
So for you, besides football, which other sports?
No, I can play tennis. Yes, I can play tennis. But I left tennis long time ago. I had to choose. You know, it was not like. But it's a sport that we played regularly. You know, after school we'll go to the tennis court and play tennis. Yes, I was quite good at it, I think.
Sports, yeah. And then when do you decide that no, I think I'll take this football thing seriously? I know at school you're not good. I'm told you're not that good at school.
No.
I'm kidding.
I'm not one of those dumb guys, you know.
When do you decide to say I'm gonna take this football thing seriously?
The football thing, it started on the streets, you know, of Walvis Bay. From the onset, I was a goalkeeper.
You never played inside?
I played inside, you know, because you had to, you know. I always had a ball. So the game starts with me.
Oh, you're the guy with the ball?
Yeah, the game starts with me. The 1-against-1 starts with me, you know, when you are shooting for goals, 2 goals, and you are shooting, you know, it starts with me. I come with the ball.
Yeah.
You know, but I was not that type of guy. If I don't play, I go with the ball. No. I was not that type of guy. So my football started there on the streets. I was a very good goalkeeper by then already. You know, so that I had the passion for goalkeeping already at an early age. You know, that's why I know a lot of legends from yesteryear. Mohamed Osep's father, you know, played for Blue Waters. He played for African Stars. A guy called Kapui. Very good left foot, strong, a powerful shot. You know, I used to stand in goals at 6, 7. These guys are shooting. The ones that, you know, okay, there's no power, but they were not, idiots. They knew that there's a 6, 7, 8-year-old. So for them, it was just warming up, you know, and I'm standing there blocking balls, you know. Yeah, so yeah, I know. So yeah, I know quite a lot of them. You know, came to Walvis Bay, played for Blue Waters, and etc. Yeah, so yeah, I'm from that era.
Which one was your first club that is elite club where you say, yeah, here? That's when I knew that this is the path that I want to take.
My football journey started with. Besides school, it started with Blue Waters. Because Blue Waters, my mom played netball for Blue Waters. My sister played netball for Blue Waters. My brother played football for Blue Waters. My mother coached the netball team of Blue Waters. My uncle you know, my late uncle, Butiki, my mom's brother, played for Blue Waters in the 60s, you know, in the 60s. And Blue Waters in the 70s used to camp in my uncle's house, you know, when his house was just opposite the KS school, you know, the house on the corner. So my so that's my first association with Blue Waters. With Blue Waters is from my family. The only guy that didn't like Blue Waters is my elder brother. He never played for Blue Waters.
He was 11 hours.
He was a silent killers guy in Chiwarongo. There was a team mainly from the Kimbundu tribe called Silent Killers or Chiwarongo, red and white. My elder brother played there. And then when Superstars was formed, you know, they were the founding members. They are the guys that started playing for Superstars. So he's the only guy that never played. He didn't like Blue Waters and 11 Arrows. You know, for some reason, I don't know why. Only him, because he's a very stubborn guy by nature. Anyway, you know.
I see where it comes from.
Yeah, I know it's in the family. So yeah, very short temper. He likes to fix things quickly.
Yeah. And then you get an opportunity to play for Blue Waters first team. Your first match, do you remember it?
Yeah, I went through the reserve team, and in those days sometimes, you know, when there are tournaments, because the reserve team was so good, so strong, you know, the Elifas Shivutes, Elia Ipunjwas, those were my teammates in the reserve league. We really had a very strong team. And the first team will be engaged in the Premier League then, traveling, and if there's a tournament somewhere, we will go there. No, they will send the reserve team there, will play up to the final, and when the first team, when they're done with their traveling, on their way back, they hear that the reserve team is in the final. They will come and lose the final. Yeah, they come. They take over. They take over and lose the final. That's one thing that used to anger me. Why we played all the way until the final, and you guys now felt that we'll not win the final. How did we get there? They force them through in there, and then they lose the final. Yeah, so that's my journey. And my first game was in Walvis Bay. 1988 was my first.
That's before independence.
Yeah, before independence, was it Ramblers? I think we were playing Ramblers. Yeah, I think that was my first Premier League game. We lost 2-0 to Ramblers in.
How did you feel? You're the goalkeeper, you concede 2 goals and the team loses.
I just want to play football. At 16, why do I worry about...
You were 16 years old when you made your debut.
Yeah, it was 17. I was 17, yeah.
And then you progress now. You settle at Blue Waters. What was your next step?
No, at Blue Waters, I actually only played 2 games. You know, but then there was a feeling that I'm not good enough. You know, and there were some discussions. No, the boy is too small. You know, we'll never play, and you know. So okay, you listen to these things and say, oh, okay, no problem. You know. So eventually, I went to Okakarara Technical Institute and stuff, and then I was in the under-23 national team competing in the Zone 6 then, which is now the COSAFA. And after that, you know, but before that, I went to Orlando Pirates, you know, because my brother was playing there. And when I come to Windhoek, I stay with them and I train with Orlando Pirates, but also that same thing, you know, when you know the guys talking there behind the back. No, the guy is clumsy, you know, he's clumsy. I know he will not make it, and say, okay, no, this is not my territory. So I went to 11 Arrows. 11 Arrows approached me. After, I played for the under 23, and then 11 Arrows approached me. And so now 11 Arrows has a history of accommodating youngsters. So that's why my passion always wanting to work with young players.
Yeah, we'll get to that as well,
it comes from 11 Arrows, because 11 Arrows was a club where a lot of youngsters actually broke it through. And also, if you know the history of 11 Arrows and Blue Waters over the years, those were very family
oriented clubs.
Yeah. So if you are Blue Waters, it's very difficult to go to 11 Arrows. If you're 11 Arrows, it's easier to go to Blue Waters, because they didn't mind. But it also depends. But a lot of young players, football, especially from Blue Waters side, actually just died out, because Blue Waters was very strong. A lot of players also coming from outside, coming to play for Blue Waters, so your chances to play were very slim, especially from the infield side. Goalkeeping side, most Blue Waters always had local goalkeepers. Alpha, Bonetti, Harris, Kika Shidute, so. But infield was very, very difficult.
Yeah.
So, and now the youngsters wanted to go to 11 Arrows because they could see that they can play there in 11 Arrows. But once you do that, they lock you out. You lock you out.
Now, 11 Arrows approaches you after playing for the under 23. Did you establish yourself there? Did you fight for a position there, or it was the same talk behind your back? And while you're at it, also talk to us about the fact that you could hear this guy saying you're not good enough, but you're a young man, 16, 17 years old. How did it make you feel? And looking at the young players nowadays, if you tell them you're not good enough, it breaks them.
No, I had a very strong character. I still have it. I stood for myself from a very young age. I did most of my stuff.
So would you tell that to young
myself?
So
yes, I do it. I do it, just to test your character. But I normally do it to players that I am playing. If I don't play you, I will not tell you that. But a player that we play week in, week out, yes, I can tell you that you are weak. You are not yet there. The only thing that he needs to ask himself, but why are you playing me if you say I'm weak? you understand. And so when I joined 11 Arrows, Sparks was the goalkeeper. And Sparks then was one of the best goalkeepers then, one of the rare guys with goalkeepers with a good technical base, in terms of ball handling, and intimidating opponents as well, But he had a very strong character, very, very positive character. And those are the guys that we were looking up to, obviously. The character is very strong. He's a short guy, but stocky and, intimidating play opponents. And, but from the goalkeeping side, he had a very good, sound, basic, technical base. So I joined 11 Arrows when it was the last seven games, of the league. I was a free agent. Sparks started working for the Ministry of Fisheries, so he was offshore most of the time, and there were other goalkeepers. So I joined 11 Arrows, and I pushed all of them out in the last 7 games. And
you took charge.
I took charge. We won the league. I think 3 or 4 games before. I think I played 4 games, and by and the title was already backed. I didn't concede a single goal. 7 games, clean sheet, and so. But then the following season, players started leaving 11 Arrows. Others moved to Orange Moon for work purposes, and others joined other teams. So the strength of the team was
Weekend. Yeah.
Was weekend. So yeah, but then the year after, eventually I left for Black Africa.
All right. Fast forward. You start playing for the national team.
Yeah, I was one of the youngest guys from the under 23. Then it was me and Shivute first, and then when we got our independence, our first international matches, our best players were aging. Your David Snieve, your Kosi Springbok, David Majid, Waka Waka Kwakose, Ries Noke was in goals, Marcellus Vedbien in goals as well, and yeah. So our team was very good players locally, but for the international stage, they were already over the hill, and it was very, very difficult. The first 2 games we played Madagascar, we lost 3-0. That was my first international game in 1992, I think, in Antananarivo in Madagascar. Shivute was there, I was there, so we were basically the youngest players. Yeah. There was Dokis Theater, but Dokis is I think 2-3 years older than us, and he started a little bit earlier, playing Premier League football as well. And so if Ubeyan comes, Murape was a coach. Ubeyan comes and also realized that this team is aging.
We need new blood.
We need new blood. So slowly he started integrating young blood. I was there before Ubeyan, me and Shivute, and then later on Geros, Bimbo came in, Geros came in, and then Maneti was the first youngest player. It's 16 years, something that Ubeyan called up against Zambia here. And yeah, that was a start. So my first, the first international match for Namibia for me was in our first match as well, 1992 against Madagascar.
How did you find international football at that age?
Look, since we were not exposed, you come in, we were warming. We were in the change room, and during the week we training. There's nobody in the stadium. It's empty, And on match day, on our way in the bus, we were approaching the stadium.
The crowds.
We were like, what the hell is going on here? And it was packed, But the noise inside the pitch, I don't know. Nobody knew about that type of noise, So we go into the change room, we change, it's time to go out for warm-up. And I, with all my confidence and which people mistaken for arrogance, with my broad shoulders, arms out there, like today, in the front. As I walk out, just that noise, from the crowd, I stopped, froze for like this few seconds, like what the hell is going on here? I was like, wow, okay. So I walked out and I'm like, So anyway, when the game started, that I was completely frozen. I must say, I was completely frozen. We lost 3-0. I think I could have stopped 2 goals, out of the 3. But the moment was just
too big.
Too big. It was a strange environment, There was noise. You're talking to your players and they can't hear you. Normally when I'm here in Namibia, I can scream to a guy who's up there, upfield. And here you're screaming for a guy upfield, and
the center back
can't even hear you. So yeah, so that was my beginning, my start when it came to international football. Yeah.
Then you get a chance to go to South Africa.
Yeah.
Was Sundowns your first choice?
I came here. played for Black Africa, successful, won the league title, all the cups available. I mean, on display. We took it, during my time, and playing for the national team. Professor Ngobane used to coach here for Liverpool, so he's actually the guy who recommended me to Sundowns. So he came to me one time and said, "Listen, if I get you a team in South Africa, will you go?" I said, "I will go yesterday." If you get me a team in South Africa,
I'll just go.
Yesterday, I'm already there. And so he got in touch with Skrima Tshabalala, and Skrima spoke to the chairman, Angelo Chiklas, and they came to Namibia to watch me play against Cameroon. That was before the second last game before we qualify for the AFCON. We needed a result against Cameroon there. We needed a result to qualify for.
Was it here or in Cameroon?
No, here in Windhoek. We needed a result. The champagne and everything was already packed and ice waiting for us to pop it, and we lost the game 1-0. So after the match, Tshabalala and Skrima Tshabalala and Angelo Chiklas approached me, and at the hotel at Country Club, said, "Look, we're interested, and would I love to join Sundowns?" I said, "Yes, I've already joined Sundowns." So so that opportunity came, I grabbed it, and the rest is history.
And then you joined Sundowns. Who was there at Sundowns as their first choice or as their goalkeepers?
Nelson, there was John Tlale already as the first choice. There was Nelson Bandura from Zim. There was a goalkeeper called Sibia. Sibia, just forgot his first name. And so when I joined Sundowns, they released Bandura and Sibia.
And kept you with John?
Yeah, it kept me with John, and then they, who was the third? Just can't remember who was the third coach. No, Nelson remained. They released Sibia, and then it was John, me, and Bandura. And then in the following season, they released Bandura, and then they signed Kevin Silango.
Okay.
Yeah.
How was it at Sundowns?
It was
the transition from Black Africa, Blue Waters, Namibia.
You see, these are the talks that angers people. When I tell the truth, because I always talk. No. I always talk from experience. When I was growing up, when we camped in people's garages and houses, you bring your own blankets, you have breakfast, and then you go home, and then you come back later, and then you go to the stadium, you eat at home, you go to the stadium, and some teams traveled in bakkies, sleep in schools, there's no physio at training, there's no water at training, and there's no training gear, etc. You train in your own stuff. There was no burps and that. Now I go to South Africa. Okay, in the national team, obviously we had all that. We have training gear. We have beeps, there's a physio, and everything is there. You sleep in a hotel, obviously, but before we slept in hotels here, we also slept in centers, that has accommodation and blah. So you come to Sundowns and you expect, you pack. When I left here, I packed my training gear. My goalkeeper jerseys, my tracksuits, different brands. I have Ambro here, I have Adidas there, I have Olympic jersey there, pens, and,
You paid because you didn't know what's happening.
yes,
there.
of course. Then, first day I arrived in Joburg. They picked me up at the hotel. At the airport, they put me in a hotel. Following day, just to get a feeling of the team, with the team. So before I signed, that's when I went to sign my contract actually, and also train with the team. And the driver told me to pick me up at 2:00. Training started at 4:00, and training started at 3:00. He'll pick me up at 2:00. It's a 20-minute drive from there to town to training. I'm already dressed up in my training gear, my tracksuit, my goalkeeping pen, and my own jersey. I remember I had this yellow Umbro jersey. I arrived at training and see guys arriving with their cars, with their little bag, in their casual, clothes. I'm like, oh, and what? So then in the change room, sent my training gear. I'm like, oh, this is how you do things here. So every day I have my own training gear, new washed, training gear. So after the second day, I had the memo already that, no, I just bring my boots and my gloves. The rest I will get there, and if I get injured, there's someone who will attend to me. If it's severe tomorrow, they will take me to a doctor. Here, you get injured, you are on your own. So now those experiences, when you look back at home, they were not. There's new stuff that I'm learning, and they are not here at home, And 50 years later, because mind you, in the 70s, already late 70s, I'm hanging around Blue Waters at training, on game days. I'm a ball boy, and etc. I started playing there. I trained there. I traveled with the team, etc. And 50 years later,
These things are coming.
These things are still here. These things are still. You still find them in 2024, in our football.
Be specific. What are those things?
That's the administration, the logistics. In those days, obviously, every year they will elect a leadership. People will come together and they will elect a leadership, and along the way, people will take up positions, and along the way they will like, no, this football is just too much for me. It takes much of my time. They take my money, of course I have to contribute, and etc. And someone I say, no, they just disappear. All of a sudden,
Somebody new has to come in.
New has to come in. So we still have those type of especially in community teams, now we have more individual owned teams, so it's also a one-man show. So there's no organizational structure. Things are done haphazardly. Because there's no system in place. So as I say, when I went to Sundowns, there was a system in place. When there are issues, I go to the office. So who's in the office? The general manager is in the office. The CEO is there. The office administrator is there. There are channels. If it's accommodation, where to go. If it's financial, where to go. If it's other problems, team manager, and then later on general manager, which was Natasha Chiklas, etc. So there was you knew where to go. And we still now, when I say 50 years later, we haven't caught up with that part. Is Is it because they are ignorant or because they don't know? And the outcome for me is they don't know. Because how we do things here, we think that's the way.
We're comfortable there.
Yeah, that's the way things are done. You know, it's okay for a team to play to sleep in someone's garage. It's okay for a team to travel in a buggy. I'm not talking about the lower league teams.
Premier League
Yeah,
teams,
I'm talking about the Premier League teams. You know, but if you go to South Africa, you will not see a second division team
using a buggy.
Using a buggy. You know,
they're already having their offices. That structure is already there.
Yes, so that's, yes, you have clubs that have that structure. Those structures already in place because it's a norm. It's a norm.
So how can we now copy that and put it here?
How can we copy that? No, I think we just need to be open-minded. People should be willing to learn. People should be willing to accept that I have shortcomings, you know, and start engaging, start asking, you know. But there are clubs that also operate in SA. There are clubs that operate like Namibian clubs. That's why they get relegated year in, year out. Jomo Cosmos was one of them. It's you know, they operate like that. That's not only Jomo Cosmos. There's so many clubs, even in the Premier League, that vanished because there was no system in place. Everything was just done by one person, and they were not willing to listen and learn. You know, so, but we can. But the trend that I see, we still in.
So, two questions for that.
Yeah.
How does that affect the development of football, especially the young players? Number one. Number two, how does it affect our quality of football as a country, going from the national team or participating on the African continent?
You see, when we talk about the virus, it starts somewhere. And for that virus to become known or common, it has to spread, you know. So it spread, and when it spreads, we come to know, that's how we come to know about that particular specific virus. So when we do things the way we are doing, haphazardly, without any systems in place, this organization, it filters through to everyone that is working in that environment or played in that environment. So, and then we think that's how things are done. So when my time comes, I just do what I learned.
And I just continue.
And it continues, you know.
Until it reaches the national team.
You know, yes. Because when I was playing for Blue Waters or 11 Arrows, your head coach comes straight from work, wearing his suit or wearing his jeans or wearing his shirt. You know, he's on the pitch. You know, we still see that. We still see that. So when a player who grew up in that environment, you know, he thinks that's for him. One day when he becomes a coach, he does the same. He goes to work, straight to training. He's a coach now, and he comes in his jeans. He comes in his shirt, etc., etc. You know, and because that's a norm.
Yeah.
That's a norm.
You played in one of the best Sundowns team. Not the best, but one of the best in terms of they were starting to chip away from the traditional Soweto Giants in terms of results, trophies, the fans, you know, competitions, partaking in Africa, and so on and so forth. How was that experience?
Yeah, you know, when Sundowns was always a powerhouse. You know the history of Sundowns with Zola Mahope, defrauding the bank and, investing the money into the club, taking Sundowns to the UK to watch the NFA Cup final. They sleep in hotels, they go and visit clubs in the UK, so. And through that, and through the financial power they had, they could attract players, from the neighboring countries, Lafmos, Shafunya, Mtawali, and many other players also from Zimbabwe over the years, and etc. So they were actually a powerhouse, but mostly when it comes to titles, etc., And but when I joined Sundowns, when they started, obviously, when the Premier League was established in 1996, in 1997, that's when the professional league actually kicked off, properly. That's when I joined Sundowns. And obviously the target was, the target was obviously to win the league. Sundowns didn't make too many signings. They signed me. They brought back Roger Fetumba. They brought in Alex Papela. In the first year in '97, there were not too many changes, but then over the years they will add on players, and Rafael Chuku also came back in '97. I think he was there before. Chuku came back in '97, and it was those were big players. Those were big players, in physique, and on the pitch. You have a Sundowns team in the tunnel there.
So what did that do to your game?
Massive. What it did to my game, obviously, is that you learn that you have to train, on a daily basis. You have to be competitive. Because it was a money talk game. Everybody is like, you make a mistake, or you don't come to training, or you don't perform. It's the language is, you are playing with my bonus. You are playing with my bonus. So that was the language. So there was the seriousness about it. Was big. Yeah.
All right, now let's shift gears a bit. You play in Africa. I think you lose in the final to
Al Ahly.
Yeah. Obviously, it wasn't a good feeling for you guys to lose in that final.
Yeah, because we in the first leg, we actually had Al Ahly by the horns. Al Ahly is a powerhouse in Africa, and when we played in Pretoria, we were all over Al Ahly. When we went to Cairo, we went there with the first game, the back of our mind that it's going to be a walkover for us. And that's where I learned that, when it comes to African football at the club level, also in general, the two approaches they had: defensive approach, lackluster approach from Al Ahly in terms of how they were managing the game. It was more defensive. They were killing time. Taking the energy or taking the intensity out of the game. And when we went to Cairo, it's like these guys were like, it's like they went on a different level, on some track that, the intensity was just, and then the fence, it was massive, yeah.
All right, you qualify with the Brave Warriors for AFCON 98.
Yeah.
First time ever.
Yeah, first time ever because we only got our independence in 1990. So that was our 92, 94, 96. So that was our fourth attempt, you know. That was our fourth attempt to qualify because 92 it was still early for us. 94, we didn't make it. 96, we didn't make it, and then 98. Because I think 96, Mozambique made it
from your group.
From our group. I think there were two teams, if I'm not. But I think Mozambique made it in our group. In 94, Zambia made it. When did the Zambian team perish? It was for the 94 AFCON, right? In Ivory Coast.
Tunisia, was it not Tunisia?
No. But I think because our first qualifiers was in our group was Zambia, Madagascar, and Tanzania.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So that qualification, what do you attribute it to? I mean, we talked from 1990 to 98. It's 8 years.
Yeah.
You come in, the team is aging. Yeah. There is need to bring in new blood, and that is done, let's say successfully. And then you qualify in 98. The process,
if you follow the process, is the first batch of players were aging. They were not ready for international football, although they were powerhouses here at home. Then we go back to the youth. Youth football then started with the under-20 regional tournaments, the Caltex, the Ministry of Youth and Sports forging relationship with Germany and Finland. And Finland, where our youth teams under 19s, under 20s could travel to
play in those tournaments.
In the Gothia Cup in Sweden, in the Helsinki Cup, and obviously playing in games, participating in games in Germany, touring Germany, etc. So that's where they started. So the birth of our qualification started there with Manetis, the Goraseps, the Nyambaris, who else was in that? There was many, the Bola Amwenyes, Bole Hans, Ricky Averia. That's where the birth of our of the youth football came through to qualify for. So the process was obviously mixing the young with the old and systematically, improving the team, taking out the older players and bringing in new ones, especially if the quality is just, and also the exposure of the young ones, it brought a lot of arrogance and confidence in them. So it was nothing new for us anymore to travel with young ones to wherever in Africa. They could take any condition. We could take on any team without fear, etc. So yeah, that was.
So you go to Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso.
Yeah.
You were the captain at that time, right?
Yeah, with Sandro and Bimbo, etc. Yeah, we were rotating.
So rotating the captaincy. I think the South Africa game, you were the captain.
Yeah.
And you
No, the entire tournament I was the captain.
Yes. Captain of the entire tournament, yeah. And you conceded 4 goals against South Africa. I think it was 20 minutes, 27 minutes.
Yeah, probably less than that. Yeah. With Benny scoring 4 goals. Yes. Yeah.
Everybody thinks you're responsible. Not everybody. Some people felt you're responsible for those goals.
Yeah, of course I was in goals, and we don't analyze games. We just look at the score line and we're like, who was in goals is that one, It's but if you look at the goals,
It was a defensive calamity.
A lot of them was disorganization in the team, how we conceded. I think the second goal I came out too early, or was it the third where I came out too early, from the sides, instead of just staying in my goals and waiting for everybody to, So, but there was a lot of defensive errors collectively, yes.
Where I was going is, that time you're already playing in South Africa. You're one of the guys that would be vocal against maybe the association when things were not going well in camp. Don't you think if you were not the vocal guy, the blame would not have come to you?
I was never a vocal guy, in general. When it comes to money issues, people think that because of whatever, I was always involved in money fights. I was never involved in money fights. I was the guy there, okay, I'm there with everyone. People are talking monies, money is not enough, and I was never part of those talks. When it comes to money in general, I was never part of.
But why would the fans always identify you?
Yeah, because that's what some players. Because some of my teammates are the same like those fans that have an issue with you, but they don't know what the issue is. You understand?
So your teammates who had issues with you, but you never knew what the issue was. You were cool with them.
Yeah.
They have issues with you.
Because I was a very strong character, and I liked order. And to keep the team together, there must be order. When you are in the wrong, we'll reprimand you, and I was one of those guys. So from the blind side, whenever there are problems, people will think you are part of
the problem.
You are part of the problem, or you're one of the cause of the problem. When people are fighting for monies, yes, the captain is obviously involved and blah blah. For me, it was always a case. What do you want, gents? Okay, we want so much. Okay, if you want so much, let's call the guys and tell them we want this much. There's no day I said this is not enough or this is too much or I want this, I want that. I never had I never came with that money mentality into the national team, because I always had money, by the way, because I always saved. I always.
You will talk about that.
Yeah, I always saved. That's it.
And then.
And that was actually the problem, because it puts you in a very difficult situation, because people think that. Some players will judge you, or they will say, yeah, because he has some money, that's why
it doesn't push
our agenda. But my agenda and your agenda are two different agendas. If you have money agendas and I don't have money agendas.
Still on that money subject, 1999, you get into the final of the COSAFA Cup. The money issues still come in.
Yeah, you see, what upsets me, you still hear, I sold out the team. I came back from SA, to join the rest of the squad. And then the money talk started. But where the money talk started was, there was a company called Namcor then. I think it was a diamond company, if I'm not mistaken, not Namcor, but it was a diamond company. The late President Hage's wife was the CEO of that company. Is it a diamond company or an oil company?
So they gave money to the team.
I think it's Namcor, if I'm not mistaken. So they gave $100,000 to the team for being in the final. So we were 20 players. So it means that it's 5,000 per player, guaranteed already, because the sponsors have paid for it.
Yeah.
We're giving each player $5,000.
And the technical team?
$5,000. The technical team was not part of that money.
Yeah.
We give them 5,000. We give each player 5,000. So it was money that was just supposed to be handed over, the 5,000. The association had to, obviously, so now the negotiations for the bonuses,
fees,
yeah, should have now, that was now a different issue on its own. Because the 100,000, it's 5,000 per player. So now the bonus from, what is the bonuses from the association? From the association. That's where the problem started. So what the association did was they split the 100,000 per player into a 3-2, 3,000 and 2,000, based on the two games. So basically, your 5,000 now, which was supposed to come to you straight, becomes a bonus
through the association.
It's now part of the bonus structure.
And the players didn't like that.
No. So, and then said, okay, so how do you divide it? So we divide it by 3-2. You win, you play in Angola, you win, you get the 3,000. You play in Namibia, you win, you get the 2,000. Then it's 5,000 in total. So, but now, from my understanding, I'm thinking, but how do you split money that was given
for reaching the final?
For reaching the final, not to win the final. So now it becomes part of the bonuses. So the players asked, okay, so now if we lose in Angola, we win in Namibia and win the cup, what happens to the 3,000? No, you forfeit that 3,000. So the question was, okay, so now where is that 60,000 going? Because it's 3,000 times 20. So where is that 60,000 going? No, it goes to the association. But it was not money given to the association.
Yeah.
It was money given to the players by a company for reaching the final. You understand? So yes. that's where part of the problems started. How do you take money that is not budgeted for, and also not coming out of your coffers, and you take it and you say, okay, if you don't win in Angola, the association takes the money. So, but then, okay, then it was included in the bonuses. It was split accordingly, and the association made some money available out of their coffers, you know, for the bonuses. And so what the players did, and not that what the players did, what was agreed, was what was planned was and agreed was, we have foreign-based players. We have a Ronnie who is in Sundowns. We have a Shivute who is in
was in Motherwell that time?
Yeah, in Scotland.
Yes.
You know, so without these guys, the national team is weak. So if these guys these guys must not sign the contract. So we were told, don't sign the contract because we are going to use you
as a negotiating.
A negotiating a weapon.
Tool, yeah.
You know, so that was the issue. So everybody by then already had signed their contracts. Everybody already had signed their contracts.
But they are telling you not to sign.
So when we came and the fight started, we were told, don't sign. So we didn't sign. And the reason we didn't sign is We agreed with the plan. The guys want more money, say, okay, use us. Because if we say don't use us,
You are selling out to the players.
we are selling out to the players. So then they will start giving us names. Yeah, you are not, you don't want us to
be like you.
to be like you or to get more money because you have money. That was the thinking. Yeah, you have money.
Yeah. So now while we're still at that, Ronnie,
Yeah.
2019, we go to another AFCON. I'm just fast forwarding.
Yeah.
And then the last match against South Africa, we have the same issue with bonuses. And we get the players.
Which one?
2019 in Egypt.
Yeah.
Yeah. We have the same issues with bonuses. We get the team players and the management not agreeing. That time it was the Hilda Passon-led normalization committee. I know the players slept at around 4 or so in the morning, and the match was played for 4 in the afternoon.
You see, there was always money issues.
Yeah.
There was always money issues.
No.
Every during my time, every international game,
Yeah.
you know, there's money issues.
Yeah.
But that was mostly in trust.
So now,
That was mostly trust.
Just
That's why players. That's why bonuses are paid before the match because the players have a trust issue.
issues with the association.
Yeah, with the association over the years, it was just like that.
All right.
Yeah.
Last AFCON
Yeah.
in March this year.
Yeah.
No, not this year, but last year.
Yeah.
We play in Ivory Coast. It wasn't in March. In Ivory Coast.
Yeah.
The same issue again rears its head. Look, we started in 1999.
Yeah.
We are talking about 2023.
Yeah.
We have not learned any lesson in between there.
Look, there's you see, one problem I have with our leaders in general from that time is when there are those type of issues, we don't know how to solve them. We always go for the easiest way out, chase them out, take them out of the team. Let's bring in new players. In 99, in
Burkina Faso.
in Angola, you know, when we came back from Angola after the first leg, there was a new team in camp. The guys who signed contracts and were chased out. Now us who were told by our teammates not to sign contracts.
We're still retained.
Because the reason we were retained is because, according to the association, we didn't hold them at ransom. The others did, based on the contracts.
Yeah.
So they removed everyone that signed a contract and decided not to, and decided to go against the contract. You understand?
Yeah.
So I could have also gone against the contract, against the bonuses, but I didn't sign a contract, so they could not really hold me accountable to anything. So for us, if the team is on strike, we go on strike. If they say no training, we don't go to training.
Because it's a team.
You understand? But I was always the first guy to say, okay, now you got your money. You got what you wanted.
Just put in work.
So now we need to prove what we were fighting for.
Yeah.
I was always there. So, yeah. And from 66, we dropped to 100 and something over the years because we had to start all over again. We had to bring in new players. We're not used to the international football and blah, blah. And so, you know. So, 2019, you know, 2019, you spoke about 2019 in Egypt, you know. Again, it's just trust issues. Because you must remember that the money comes from the government.
Yeah, but
No,
my question is, why are we not learning? we even have people that are experienced in those things.
Yeah, it's
they
because
still don't learn.
we make small mistakes. We make small mistakes, and some of the mistakes we make is that it's because we have that I'm in charge
Syndrome, yeah.
syndrome. You know, when you ask money from the government in sports, that they don't just, they ask for a budget. And they don't ask for a random budget. They ask for a specific budget.
Yeah.
Say, Marco Ndlovu, 10 cents. Ronnie Kananelo, 10 cents.
Yeah.
Appearance fee. Winning bonus, 10 cents. Lose nothing, etc., etc. So when the money is released, is to the T. So that money is given to the association.
Based on what it was requested for, yeah.
Yeah. So what happens in those cases, then you find that when the money is there, people start changing the bonus structure.
Yeah, yeah.
So now instead of the 10 cents, now they decide, no, now we negotiate, we give you 5 cents.
So what is the best way of doing it?
You understand?
Yeah.
So, and then the players were like, no, but it was 10 cents all along. Why is it now 5 cents?
Yeah.
You know? So it becomes that way, that's some of the problems. So when those problems arise, we are always looking for the culprits. Who are the guys behind
this whole thing?
Instead of solving the problem, who are the guys behind this issue?
2023
we want to deal with them. So we want to take them out and bring in other players. So we never learn how to solve problems.
And still continue.
Yeah. Because we have this thing that I'm going to show you. Or the problem kids must just be removed, or the problem coaches must just be removed. That's the whole point, yeah.
All right, so we've spoken about that. Now, earlier on you spoke about arrogance and confidence.
Yeah.
You said you're confident, you're not arrogant.
Yeah.
You have stepped on a lot of toes wherever you have gone, especially here in Namibia. Would you say you're arrogant? You already said you're not arrogant, right?
I'm confident, and I like a factual talk. When we talk, everything must be based on facts. Because when I speak to you, I come with references.
Yeah.
If you talk about something that you are supposed to do in your club,
yeah,
and you are not doing it, but you are preaching it, or you are telling me that when you get here you are going to do A, B, and C, but you don't do it in your institution, then it doesn't make sense. You can't tell me that when you get when you go somewhere else outside your institution to another one, you will do A, B, and C. But why don't you do that A, B, and C there? I'm talking about the basic stuff.
Yeah.
In terms of finding sponsors for your club.
Yeah.
Having an organizational structure in your club, and say, okay, there's a chairman, there's a CEO, finance guy, etc., etc. You know, all positions are there. Doesn't mean that you have to fill all positions. It depends on the necessity.
Just on the structure.
Yeah, the structure must be there, and that's a guideline that guides you, because as time goes, you will know what your shortcomings are. And can I feel it? If you can, then you feel it. It should never be a money issue. That, yes, that's the organizational structure, but I don't have the money to pay those salaries. But there's always a way out. There's always a way out with outside money. The white guys are doing it. They have clubs, they have organizational structures. They don't pay these people, for instance, but they bring money into the club. You know, that's one. Why? Because everyone has his portfolio, and everyone is dealing with his portfolio. So it's easier, because the environment that they operate in is organized, So when they go somewhere else, they expect.
So when you now talk to these club officials,
Yeah.
they feel you're arrogant.
They feel I know too much. I think I know too much. But it becomes personal. A football talk becomes a personal thing. So instead of, when we talk about football and the facts inside football, why do we run away from the facts and attack the person? You know, where does it fit in? So if I ask you, why don't you have a training ground? Why should you be
Personalize the issue.
yeah, why should you be quite
Instead of finding the
tired?
training ground, yeah.
Yes, you have a football club. Where do you train? You must have a training
ground.
field. Okay, now the training field is there, the players are there. What are we going to train with? We are a football club, so we need balls. So where are the balls? Okay, we have two teams. We need to divide the teams in two, and we need BEPs for that. Where are the BEPs?
Where are the cons?
Yeah. So when you ask those things, people get angry, and then they start branding you. You think because you played in South Africa, or you think because you know this, you know it. No, I'm asking for the basic stuff because how can it be a football club and we don't have balls to train with or to play with? You understand? So factual. I always say, let's deal with the facts. Leave all these other things.
Yeah.
Leave me alone, man. If I'm arrogant, I'm arrogant. I'm not arrogant towards you because I'm not taking out my arrogance on you. Maybe someone else told you that guy is arrogant. So when you start talking to me, you are
Really
looking for
mindset,
that.
yeah.
You are waiting for me to bring my arrogance out. You understand? Then we're not going anywhere. First, listen. What is this guy talking about? He's talking about football. He's saying you don't have an office. If you don't have an office, why are you getting angry? You don't have an office.
Yeah. Speaking about you being the guy who knows too much, the past 6 to 8 years have not been good in terms of Namibian football, administrative-wise.
Yeah.
You are one guy that has come out and called out people for not taking football serious. At one point in time, you were the under-23 coach. You were supposed to go to Angola. A check or whatever money was not released for training, to take the team. You ended up withdrawing and so on and so forth because of personal egos. And you were very vocal about it, and you spoke out against it.
No. Look, the reality is there was no money. But that was already shared. I knew when we were in training, there was a struggle of money. But it was communicated. So, but in the meantime, the association was looking for money to make that happen.
Yeah.
And in the end, it was not possible. I was not really vocal about it.
Yeah.
I was not really vocal about it. I was not angry or disappointed. Yes, I was disappointed that we didn't manage to take the boys to the Olympic qualifiers, to Angola, but it was communicated that we might not make it because of money issues. So I was at peace. It's understandable.
Yeah.
You know, it's people. When people talk, it's much easier.
Yeah. The administrative fights that have been there, you know, this camp and that camp, the NC coming in, this whatever. Progressive forces coming in, and this one coming in, and this one coming in. You have been very, very vocal about that.
Yeah, because look, our football is not under the table. It's in the open. You understand?
Yeah.
So my issue then with the progressive forces then under Ranga, then during the
after the first NC,
during the campaign, you know, there was no There was no manifesto. There was no direction from them that if we come into office, this is what we are going to do. This is how we want to do things. Because in politics, mind you, in politics, that's what the political parties do, isn't it?
They tell you their plan.
Yeah, they tell you their plan, and you buy into the plan.
Like what, if you go to did when you went to CAF.
If you go to the US, when it comes to politics, there's only two parties:
the Republicans and the Democrats.
The Republicans and the Democrats. So sometimes the Democrats win, sometimes the Republicans win. How is it possible? It's because people are sharing their ideas and plans. So people sit there and they listen to those plans, and then they decide, this time I'm not going with the Democrats, this time I'm going with the Republicans. 5 years later, the Republicans are out and the Democrats are in. Why? Because of the campaign and the plans and what they are sharing. People are going with that, and then they say, no, this time I'm not going with the Republicans, I'm going with the Democrats. That's how it's supposed to be. So now I said, okay, if you want me to support you, mind you, he's from my hometown. I know him. I worked under him at Black Africa. So, yes, what is your plan? No, I will share my plan when we get into office. Then, so what are you selling then to the people that are voting for you? I mean, that's fair. Why should people get angry about that? That's how things are done. How do I just because you are my friend or my brother, I must automatically support you? I mean, my mom was in politics. I mean, the first elections, independence, she was NPF, you know. But I didn't vote for NPF. I voted for SWAPO. You understand?
Because they sold you.
Because that's what I know all the years. NPF came along the way, you know. But all along, SWAPO, during the liberation struggle, when there are rallies there in Walvis Bay, we knew it was SWAPO and DTA. So who is NPF? My mom. It was Moses Kashongwa then, the leader. I'm like, no, I'm a SWAPO guy. You understand? So I'll vote for SWAPO. Yeah. I voted for SWAPO. Yeah. Even my mom, when the results were coming out, she was like, I know these Ronnies voted for SWAPO. But I just kept quiet. I'm just thinking, okay, I'm going to keep my celebrations intact. I'll celebrate somewhere there when I get home. I cannot, because the owner of the house is NPF. Yeah. You understand? But she comes from... she's been in the town council in the leadership since 1984. And over the years, so people, and she always dealt with issues, you know, especially the housing and problems. People come into our house, you know, we come from training, there are people sitting after work, you know, just to see her. So you just greet, walk past, and go to your room to the other side, and, you know, people are leaving at 10 o'clock. So over the years, then so the regional elections, you know, the regional or the local elections, like in Walvis Bay, for the leadership of the town, I vote for my mother, who was a DTA or PDM then. So I vote for her because I know what she will do to the community. The other guys, I don't know. Even though I'm a SWAPO guy, SWAPO card-carrying member, I didn't go give my vote to a SWAPO, a guy that I know, even, you know, because through my playing days, you know, they used to be on the management of the club and blah, 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 blah. But I don't know what you will do to the community. But I know what my mother will do to the community. Because you can come at 10 in the evening, she'll open the door for you. She will listen to your problems. She will walk after 5 o'clock because she knows you will knock off at 5 o'clock. She will walk to your house to go solve the problems. You understand?
But we don't have that in football.
Yes. So we don't have that in football. Now, in football, we start, if you don't give your plans, what are you standing for? Because I don't know what you stand for. You understand? And with the last elections, with the current president, Robert and Kota, I don't know Robert. I don't know him on a personal basis. You understand? So he's based in Walvis Bay. I left Walvis Bay a long time ago, and he came to Walvis Bay not through football, through other things, and then he became a business partner with Sandro, I think, and they work in the same office, and then later on interest, and then he came into Blue Waters, and he was now the chairman of Blue Waters. He was running Blue Waters. That's all I know. You understand? But on a personal basis, I don't know him.
Yeah.
I know Kota because I engage with Kota
On football matters.
all the time. Not other things, football matters. Me and Kota don't talk about the weather. We don't talk about the car he drives or the car I drives. We talk football.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So he sells his idea. And I listen to his idea. You understand? And I say, okay.
Sounds pretty solid.
He sounds pretty solid. I know it can be a little bit, how should I say, very hot at times, and people will brand him as arrogant. I know, you understand, but I'm not interested in Patrick's Kota's personality. It's not my problem. I'm also not interested in the president Robert Shimoshili's personality. No, I'm interested in what do they do for football.
Yeah.
You understand?
So who was your swapo then in that election?
Who was my swapo in this election? Oh no, Kota was my guy because I know him on a personal basis and through football and talking about football, the plans he has for football. That's it.
Yeah.
You understand? And I understand that was because, but I didn't make it public. I didn't run around campaigning for Kota, but it was my preference.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
If I knew Robert and we speak football all the time, then I will know what he stands for and what he wants to do for football. You understand?
Yeah.
Then it's easier. Then I can say, Robert Patrick. But because I only knew one guy, I said, yeah, okay, he's been around. I see what he does for Stars and blah blah. Okay, maybe he's the right candidate. I didn't say he's the right candidate. Maybe he's the right candidate. You know. So, and yes, and those were, and some people
took it
otherwise.
And that now made you a target.
Yes, of course. But it makes me one of the targets because there's a lot of targets. You understand? There's a lot of.
I'm talking to you now.
Yes. There's a lot of targets. I think that's in the corridors of the space of my of where I move in. That's the reason I was fired from UNAM. Because apparently the talk was, that guy he favored Kota as a president. He favored Kota as a president. How can he be the coach of your team? You know, so
that's deep.
I said. So all along I thought it was a footballing thing, which also didn't make sense because the reasons I was fired for. And because it didn't make sense because
we'll come to the
because the league is not yet finished. It's 15 games. I have only done 8 games, etc. You know, most of the time I was in Botswana doing my A license. But coming back, but it was also not a secret, you know, in terms of because I had talks with guys who
We're supporting.
were supporting Robert.
Yeah.
We talk. We
We're
talk.
football people after
We're
all,
football
yeah.
people. Yeah, we talk, and even them felt that Kota is the right guy, but because of his arrogance, he's not the guy to run our football. Robert is the right guy because he will bring people together.
Yeah.
You understand?
Yeah.
So I'm talking to guys who knows Robert in and out. They spend time with him. So they have a better understanding of Robert
The guy than you have.
than I have. I am a guy who's been around Kota.
Kota, yeah.
I have a better idea, a
Understanding.
better understanding of Kota than this guy. You understand?
Yeah. So now
but for me, I fail to understand. That's where I have a problem with that. We can. It's okay for you to prefer someone,
But you can't.
but I can't.